Check, check, check. Is this thing even on? Why is the lighting so terrible? What? All right, there's our time delay. I know why. Whatever. Okay, so that's good. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Ba-ba-ba. 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 Huge time delay. Wow. Well. I'm not live. Not even close to live. Why did it just jump back 20 minutes? Man, this shit pisses me off. For anybody who's actually watching. Somehow I got the time delay down to a minimum. We're on the right channel, yes. Anybody watching? One waiting. Well, that's not even possible. One watching now. Hopefully that's just me. If anybody's in here, I apologize. Technical difficulties. That's live life. Why does it say 0, 0, 0 across the board? This thing's. Oh boy. Well. Huge comedy of errors, guys. I'm going to take my medicine now. Sorry. You're not going to watch me, but you'll hear it. Because I'm to the point of smashing. And that's not where we need to be. Anybody here say hi. Otherwise, I'm just going to sit here and do bone hits. You can't even see the smoke. Stale smoke. Right, that's why. Because even though it was showing the smoke icon, it's on the other account. Don't do that. Don't do what you're about to do. Cool. Cat attack. We have a sneaking cat. Cat sneaking in. Cat sneaking in. Sneak a cat. Where'd the sneaker cat go? There it is. I wouldn't have even known it if I hadn't had a camera on. Yeah, this got all screwed up. All right, total refresh. One watching now. I'm assuming that's me. So there's nobody here anyway. I may as well just cancel this whole fucking thing because it pissed me off before it ever even got started. Pardon the language, right, kitty? We'll say hi to everybody on camera? No? Why not? Are you embarrassed? Come here. Say hi to everybody. You could be a live kitty on TV. I don't understand. There's more activity than usual. Come here. Yeah, you don't understand? Come up here. It's your favorite chair. Yeah, it is. Clubtail. She'll kill you all with her clubtail. Oh, you can't even see her because their camera's pointed in the wrong way. Kitty cam, kitty cam. Kitty cam, kitty cam. All right, it's the live show with Bit the kitty. Coming in as our guest, special guest is Guinness, who is kind of angry and or scared of me because I yelled at him earlier for being all up in my shit. Right, buddy? Come here. Kitty session. Oh, buddy. Kitty session. Yeah, kitty session. Let's get all the kitties and pet them. Guinness has clearly been grooming himself. He's actually a very beautiful kitty, as they both are. Kitties, kitties, kitties. You guys should have kitties. All you guys that aren't here. Yeah. All right, well. Screw those guys, huh? Yeah. We'll take over the world on our own. Because we're amazingly powerful. Stop drooling all over me, you fat furball. Oh, the drooler gods. Ah, 3 watching now. Holy cow, wake up. You've been working on any music. Oh my gosh. Sorry, wake up. I don't know who the 3 watching are. I was petting my cats because no one was here. And I had a very frustrating start. Have I been working on any music? Well, no. You can't see me. You're looking at my cats. Let's get you up here a little better where the original intended camera angle was. Hey guys, whoever's watching. I had a very rough start to this live. Nothing really went correctly, and so I got kind of pissed off. Y'all know me, I'm gonna be frank. So I'm kind of trying to get my head right now. Gibberish robots, no, you're good. I do the same thing as soon as I get home. Anyhow, ow, why did you bite me? You want more attention. I understand, but don't bite. That's not nice. Basically, my plan was to come in here and set up and install my new barn door. In the process of getting everything going and being new to YouTube Lives, I had to figure out how to do it again. And what's happening is I'm setting up the live and scheduling it for later. And then I can't ever find it when I look for it again. For those of you who are trying to do a live from your phone and you schedule it for later, you have to go back to YouTube, not YouTube Studio, hit the plus button, and then when it comes up, there's a little calendar in the corner with a little schedule with a little red dot on it. When you click on that, then you can find it. Excuse me, sorry. That was terrible and I apologize. And now back to the show. Have I been working on any music? No. I am in a Discord group with Scale Train Station and several other people that we're working on a 30 for 30, which is where you spend 30 minutes each day for 30 days trying to do something to better yourself, basically. This month I did meditation because I used to be very into meditation and I'm trying to get back into it. um, Next month for August, I believe we're going to do it again, and I am planning on doing music for the month of August. So that'll be 30 minutes a day going downstairs and working on putting down some tracks. So, maybe you can play with them, wake up, or real one, or we can get in with everybody and make some cool music, I think. I'm all set up down there. Excuse me. I'm set up for multi-track recording. Without getting into too much detail, basically I used to have a band and we started with cassette tapes, if that tells you anything. So I'm set up down there to record. I'm actually literally set up, we could put on headphones and be monitoring through headphones and be playing live and recording multi-track. The only issue you would have is if a mic was live through a PA. I've set up that through a old laptop with Reaper software. And I think I've got all the bugs worked out, but I'm sure the first couple of days are going to be running into issues. I do still need to download a VST, which is the digital drum kit, excuse me, for my electronic drums. I can play them with the onboard music, but if I use them as a MIDI controller into Reaper, I need to have a virtual drum kit that is triggering. And I haven't downloaded that yet. Anyway, those barn doors are cool. We had quite the pain in installing it. Yeah, I'm not going to literally install it live. We'll kind of unbox it and get out the directions and maybe do some layout, or just sit here and bullshit. The barn door, I appreciate the knowledge there. That's awesome. I try to do 15 minutes to an hour a day. 15 minutes makes you better at something than 90% of people who don't. I 100% agree. And in this group we're in, that's kind of the point, is to just kind of keep everybody. I mean, nobody's giving anybody a hard time, but you give yourself a hard time when you're in a group of people doing a similar thing. If you look on there and everybody's typing done and you haven't done yours. With meditation, it's kind of something that, okay, play nice, we're on live. I don't know if you can see them. You could probably adjust it so you can. There we go. Kitty cam. So anyway, with meditation, my point was that I tried to do it initially for the full 30 minutes, and there wasn't a chance in hell, frankly. So what I'm doing now is pretty much I do either 3 10-minute sessions or 2 15-minute sessions. And that seems to be working a lot better. Overall, I have definitely noticed that I'm not as quick to anger because I can be kind of a little bit, whatever the word is, angry. So anyhow, we lost somebody, but we still got 3 people. We got me and Wake Up in the chat. Scale, I don't know, are you still around? Or did you get bored with me rambling? I don't blame you if you did. I appreciate it, Scale. I mean, I appreciate it, Wake Up. I appreciate everybody that's watching, if there is anybody. We're going to go ahead and put the camera back where it was, even though these kitties are so cute. Have to go help the wife. All right, well, go help the wife. Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it 100%, and I'll catch you in Discord. Like I said, I'm going to set the camera back up to where we were originally looking, and let's get this barn door out. I don't know if y'all heard that. My wash is done. Get this out and see what we've got. And then we'll get back and play and chat some more, perhaps. this thing was very heavy, and one of the joys of a two-story house and solo life is getting it up here by myself. So my back's gonna hurt more than normal tonight. That'll be fun. Wake up, I don't think you were here last week. The kite here on the wall, I don't even know if I said anything about it, but I used to work in a kite shop. So that's one of the kites. I have pictures of me with this kite 30 years ago on the front page of a newspaper for a kite show. Well, actually it was a music festival, but whatever. Anyway, so the first thing I'm going to need to do is move that. And of course, I don't have the tools to do that up here. Screeching halt! Alright, well, let's just unbox like we said. Lord, and he returns. Peace. Was I gone? Dude, kites are awesome. I don't understand the last part, but kites are awesome, huh? Well, I literally I made kites for a living for a long time. 100% natural. We used hemp and bamboo and tie-dye. Guinness, it's the ultimate cardboard. Patience, guys. Sorry. I'm just trying to not start a fire by having cardboard on exposed LEDs. Ay, ay, ay. Where are we at here? 5 watching. Hi, 5 watching. I'm having a conversation mostly with Wake Up, and we're talking about kites. So, with that being said, we're going to activate drone mode. Let me make sure I still got my mic is on. Check, check. All right. Drone mode. You don't want to see a kite. Turn that light off. Let's see. So, can I do any better lighting? Not really. This is a Bermuda. That tail is, I don't remember, 12 feet long, something like that. The kite is 3.5 feet, 4 feet? No, 4 or 5 feet actually wide, I think, at the points. That's actually my favorite kite of all time. And when our teacher, the owner of the kite shop, passed, excuse me, I'm apologizing. I apologize for that. What happened? Orientation is locked. Rotate device back. Y'all are good, right? Whatever that stupid warning is. I don't know. It won't go away. Hopefully y'all are still good. Yes, you're still good. Kites are awesome. We were just talking about getting some to go fly because you don't see them around anymore here. That's amazing. I'll bet it looks super cool in the air. Yeah, that kite is gorgeous, but honestly, I'm afraid to fly it because if it crashes and breaks and tears the sail, I can't fix it anymore. So it's a decoration. I'm never say never. It may end up getting flown again. But anyway, I have a selection of kites for sure. And the banner in my videos at the top there that says Kite Riggers, that was the name of the kite shop. And those kites were sold on Grateful Dead tour and music festivals for years. I have to do this again. I apologize. That's the prep for getting on here. 6 watching now. All right. Damn, that was probably loud. I'm so sorry about that. Y'all know what's up. Schmoke shop. So let's see if we can find some directions real quick. I'm not going to totally bore you with all that, but I can be glancing at them while we're talking. Oh, I'd say this is the hardware. We have any... Not really. I'm going to turn you again. Turning. So we're back to the seat, from which I believe I can see the chat. So what's up, Adam? Ever do that ultimate kite fighting? No, 2 kites enter, 1 kite leaves type thing. Kite fighting is really interesting to me. And actually in, I believe it's China, they do huge kite festivals with thousands of kites in the air that are fighting. And they have glass glued to the strings and razor blades hanging off of them. And the point is to tangle up the kite, as many kites as you can, cut their strings and keep your kite in the air. That sounds very fun. Stunt kites, also very interesting. Kite carts. The reason that people, or at least my boss, got into kites was because of the concept of flight. I mean, in general. So there's so many things that you can do with that wind power. And kite fishing, you can take a kite up and run it out and get it way out over the ocean, and then pull a second string and it releases a clip that drops your lure. So what are you installing? Hey, Renegade, good to see you. Good to see everybody that's in the chat. I'm happy to have 7 people watching. That's a new record, I think. That is a barn door for that opening, because these kitties over here, if you're just getting here and you didn't see them, my kitties can at sometimes be very annoying if I'm trying, if I'm trying to film something or something like that, because they fight and they play fight, but the big black one especially is a big black furry cat. So he's constantly grooming himself and licking himself and making just wonderful slurping noises that really drive me crazy. So we're putting in a barn door. The other thing is that technically this is sort of my guest room. So there's intentions for a futon over my shoulder here where you can't see, but where the table was over there. There's going to be a futon, and then I need to have a door if it's going to be a guest room so any guests can have privacy. I figured that I would do anything that I do with this that I film live, because if I put a carpentry video up on my channel, it's not going to do good for my algorithm. I've been experimenting a little bit. I'm going to try and keep it mostly mechanical. Excuse me, got to clear my throat again. But mostly, Renegade, like I said, it's just an excuse to have something to do in case we start losing the conversation. Lots of ums today. So for those of y'all just getting here, I had a really rough start to this live, and I'm not as prepared as I would have liked to have been, but we're still here and we're going to do it because it's entertaining for me, and I would assume it's at least something entertaining for y'all, or else you wouldn't be here. I had one of those. His name was Leroy Jenkins, a big old fat pack cat. The big old fat pack that swayed when he walked. Orange pumpkin eyes, fat black cat. Guinness, you got one of those? You want to show off your fat, what did he call it, a fat pack? You got a fat pack. Blah, blah, blah. And he got green, I guess green eyes, golden green, sort of. They're really good cats. They are, when my mom passed away, my mom and dad were still married when she passed away. And these were her best friends. Dad was a workaholic. He's still around, but he's retired now. So these guys were spoiled rotten by my mom. And when she passed away, I was actually driving back and forth across town, an hour round trip driving time alone, to go take care of these cats every other day, because it was easier for me to do it than for my dad. And eventually I finally gave in and brought them here and moved them in here. So they're happy, I'm happy. It's just I didn't really want any more pets. I was kind of over the pet thing. I'd like to be able to spontaneously travel and stuff like that. And this changes that whole dynamic. They can go 3 days without any attention or whatever, but at that point I have to come back and clean the kitty litter box, or else they'll start shitting everywhere. DJ Real One, what's up, brother? How is Chicago? Hopefully you're having a good time. Kitty, I know, I started petting you and now you won't let me stop. That's right, I know, buddy. Bit over there just looking cute. Bit is the cutest cat in the world, right? Bit, aren't you? With those eyes. She's the cutest kitten in the world. Normal, if you're familiar with Garfield at all. My peers. Oh, Wake Up must have stepped out. I can only Wake Up and DJ Real One are the same person. Whoa. Some of these guys are from my the live DJ set on Friday nights that I think I've told everybody about. So we got a little bit of community growing here. It says 7 watching now. Y'all hit that like button if you haven't. I'm late. What are you unboxing? Barn door. If you can. We'll turn that back up. Cat TV, what were we talking about? Cat cam. Cat cam is now over. Going back to the original camera setup. Barn door for right here. And then we were talking about how the kites got to go. And then we were talking about a little bit more about the kite shop. And I showed another kite. What's up, DJ? Anyhow. So basically, what do we got here? Barn door hardware straight strap kit. Straight up strap, dog. This is relatively thick manual. Okay, it's multiple languages. Cool. I was going to say. What do we got here? 11 and 12. Guide de instalación de la Porte de Grande. Okay, so this is recycle. Wait. Oh, 2 points, y'all. Oh, I can't do that. I can do that carefully. Just because that was awesome. So you see that box right there with the papers hanging in it? I just launched those across the room and made a basket. If I go any further, you're going to start seeing incriminating evidence. It's like, all right, let's get you back. Back in position. Back in position with you. I'm cleaning house and watching the legendary Schmoke shop. Well, that's cool. I'm glad I could at least entertain you. I'm, I think if there's 7 people, I don't know if that's realistic, but whoever's here watching, whether you're in the chat or not, I think we can all agree that we're slowly building a community. And I think that's sort of the reality basis of YouTube. Whatever's happening now with all the AI bullshit, that's not what YouTube was ever intended to be. YouTube was a place for you as an individual to express yourself and a place to upload your content. And now what it is it's still that, but it's also a hotbed of people trying to make their $1 million by any means necessary. And as it can be a lucrative source of income, if you hit it, you can hit it big. But these people are playing it like the lottery instead of actually putting effort into it. And that's something that irritates me. If you saw my last video, it irritates me a lot, frankly. And I don't really hold back about it. Get rich quick and lazy. Yeah, exactly. It's like, again, if you watch my last video, if you're interested in the subject matter at all, I go deep into it. Very frustrated rant. These people are turning on a computer, pressing a couple buttons, and generating a script and a thumbnail and their video, and then posting it. And you can, random aside, I think it started as a dating site. Absolutely, 100%. YouTube absolutely started as a dating site. But once it went video is what I'm talking about. Fuck AI. Absolutely. And it's a hotbed subject right now. There's no question about it. But I literally, and Real One I think might remember this, I use the vidIQ software because I do use some coaching. I actually went through some coaching on vidIQ and stuff like that. I like vidIQ because they seem to be real. I think a lot of the other pseudo gurus out there are getting the same information from other sources or from vidIQ and then making their bullshit repetitive videos that are all the same thing. Again, I'm not going to get too deep into that, but one of the AI tools, we'll say, gonna stop killing your sister, on vidIQ is the fact that I can take a long form video, and I believe it's the remix button. It will automatically, I see you, Renegade. We'll talk about that in a second. The software will automatically scrub through your video and pull out and generate shorts for you, literally. And I was like, oh, let's just out of curiosity, let's see what it'll do. And I think I was chatting with DJ Real One at the time. And I want to say it was less than a few minutes at the most. I want to say it was less than a minute, but it was probably a little bit longer than that. Excuse me. Air, water. It came back to me with I want to say 12 or 13 thumbnails that I could click on, and each one of those was a snippet of my video turned into a short, already in vertical form. I want to say it already had graphics and everything on it. It was really amazing. I think I used one of them. But what it did to me is confirm what I thought. There are literally people here that are pressing a button and generating, we'll say, 100 shorts in seconds and posting them on channels all over the place. And frankly, shorts for me are useless. They give me a headache. And I think it is. It's a different mindset. It's a different way of thinking. It's a different program, planet. Maybe we're from different planets. We're all aliens anyway. The reality is, though, that shorts give me a headache because I watch some of my peers on here that are creators make shorts, and so I'll watch them, and then all of a sudden I'll get into the shorts feed where it's shoving all this crap at me with just stupidity. And it bothers me. It does absolutely nothing for me. If I'm looking for entertaining, I'm looking for long form entertainment. And if I'm looking for information, I'm looking for full information, not some guy that took his full information and crammed it into a 30-second short. So it's like, hey, yeah, you just open over the box and all the stuff's in here and it's great. Okay, thanks, bye. It's like, well, no, I was trying to figure out exactly what was in this bag because I don't understand it and it's not in the directions. Y'all follow what I'm saying. Drink water. Anyway, my channel doesn't even come close to making enough to at least pay for itself. After 5 years, I'm burnt out and considering stopping. Bro, you made it 5 years. Hang in there. I'm kind of over it. I'm getting my head right, but and I've only been seriously doing it for 9 months. I have videos that are older than that because I was using YouTube as what it is. I would post the video and share it on Facebook. I wasn't even playing on YouTube. Or if I was advertising something, or I did a review for a fucking heater, pardon my French, that has like 30,000 views, and it was for a review on Harbor Freight. It's great for the watch hours, but it's not where my channel is. And as far as the income, we'll talk about that in a little while. I'm going to come back to that, Renegade. I mess with the AI. It's all right in some aspects of it if I use it to do some cool, quick picture ideas, but it's all pulled from someone else's real work. So I'd rather get rich off my own idea. Yeah, and that's the thing. Wake Up is original is going to grow huge as the AI takes over because people are going to be like, "Whoa, there's nothing real anymore," and the real, genuine content is going to grow. Mark my words. And I've known that since I started YouTube. That's why I'm very stubborn about what I'm doing. Blind surfing shorts. I can spend 30 minutes and not see anything worth watching. Yeah, it's a complete waste of time. It's a time suck. AI is only entertaining when it freaks out and gets racist. Yeah, fuck Grok. I'm gonna peep the replay. I gotta bounce, y'all. Keep up the hard work, Schmoke. We love to see the realness. Real one. I don't know if this one's gonna have a real way, but I'll give you the link unlisted if I don't, or I may keep it unlisted because it screwed up my entire algorithm when I put the replay up as a long form video with the last one. Then someone else says, I want to make cool stuff. I'll use tools, but I don't want to let the tool do everything for me. I didn't do it. And that's the key, is AI is a tool. And I mean that in both ways. But as someone who, I went to college for computer programming, believe it or not, in the late 80s, early 90s. So I understand logic. I understand algorithms. I understand how a computer works. And without getting too into ridiculousness, what I would like to say is that I'm only half joking. If you've ever seen me post, repent AI users, the Terminator is coming. I'm kind of serious about that because where we're headed is the Terminator, Matrix, Wall-E. All of these movies have a lot of truth to them as far as I'm concerned. And that's the direction that we're headed. I hope it doesn't happen, or I hope to be in a log cabin in the mountains far away from it all if and when it does. But eventually what's going to happen is the military, I'm sure you've all seen, and I'm not going to go too deep into this, I'm sure you've all seen the Boston Dynamics robots. And that's what they're showing us. Anybody that knows anything about military stuff, they don't show us the real badass stuff. They show us the stuff that's, hey, look what we started with. So what's terrifying to me is when they have autonomous robots out there that are armed and exceedingly dangerous, and they decide to go grok, if you follow what I'm saying, because that's Terminator. And I could go real deep with that, and we're not going to. That's not what this is about. This is about installing a barn door. As far as the monetization thing, I don't know if you're still in here, Renegade. How would I put this? My plan, my modus operandi, my budgetary whatever, in real life as well as on YouTube, I lost everything. We'll say that. Multiple times I've lost everything. Without getting into details about Schmoke's personal life. Somewhere along the lines, I got tired of working for other people and physically hurting myself and making them shitloads of money while I made enough money to barely survive. Is anyone? Let me preface that. Is anyone actually here and listening to this, or am I just going to ramble to a camera when I could be accomplishing something? Barn door installation guide. D2D. Eyes on the animal. Peep. I got someone else's. I want to make up. Yeah, exactly. Top chat. Let me go live chat. And while I'm up here, I'm going to medicate a little bit. That's where I'm at right now. Live chat. Where is where you're at right now? Wake up. I might have missed something because I was rambling for a while, as I tend to do. Pardon me, guys. I am still here. Just going to puff a little bit. Cool. All right. So, I actually wrote this down because our first live last week, I was going to jump to this subject. Again, without getting too deep into detail, because frankly, it's none of your business. Love you guys. I have lost everything on more than one occasion. I've had plenty of real jobs, and for various reasons, including the market crash in whatever year that was, 2004, whatever. Again, I put in lots of work, hurt myself physically, and made other people lots of money, and ended up with absolutely nothing to show for it. So I went and made some major adjustments, and the physically hurting myself to just get by. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be said about doing it while you're young, as I sit here and try and get my back to realign. There's a lot to be said about bust your ass while you're young and save the money and invest it wisely, would be my tip as far as that. As far as the YouTube thing, what I'm trying to do is keep everything as minimal financially as possible. Let me just read this real quick and make sure that it's not stupid. No, it's brilliant. So this is empire building tip number 1. This is if I was going to tell somebody how to build an empire from ground zero. Tip number 1, be overly mindful of your budget. Something my dad taught me. If you can't afford to pay for it with cash, you can't afford it. If you can't pay for it, if you can't buy it with cash, you cannot afford it. It's that simple. Also, can you find it cheaper? Can you find it used, whatever the physical item is? Thrift stores are a great place to find it. Also a great place to build an empire, which brings me to another point. The last time I basically lost everything, I was in a relationship and living with someone, and long story short, we ended up splitting up. And when that happened, the next morning, let me preface this. Hang on a minute. Let's back it up. That was the third and final time. The time before that, before I moved in with this girlfriend, I was doing HVAC. I may have mentioned it to some of you before. I did HVAC for years, which is a relatively good paying job. However, when the market crashed, suddenly I got laid off, and I didn't have the income that I had before. So when you're living a lifestyle up here, because you've got the income to do it, even if you're budgeting, you're going to, things are going to bump up a little bit. Well, when everything gets pulled out from under you, especially if you don't have any savings, all of a sudden you're at ground zero. So where I ended up was, what do we got? Oh, this is getting juicy. Adam, you were probably around for some of the repercussions of this. My dad used to preach the cash thing too. Yeah, that's super important. Our society leads you to think that getting credit cards is a good idea. It's a terrible idea. What really pisses me off is debt forgiveness, where people are forgiven for running up huge debts, and then all of a sudden they just have all the stuff and get forgiven a couple of years later. And it's like, well, how come I don't get rewarded for not being stupid? But anyway, um, I know Adam from some of my bar hanging out. Not, I'm not being judgmental to anybody, but we hung out in a bar together for several years while I was wallowing in my sorrows. Um, I'm all over the place today, huh? Let's go back to. So, long story short, I lost my place where I was living, met a girl, and ended up moving in with her, and never should have done that. Because part of the reason that I moved in with her when I did was because I was losing my ass and struggling to pay rent. Never make a decision like that with that kind of thing going on in your life. Um, you're hanging that door just like I work on my car. This door will be hung by next Sunday. We're doing a live. This is about community building. I was at my last job for 11 years until they wanted to change my schedule to one I couldn't work, so they fired me. Yeah, I mean, I got corporate bullshit stories for days. Um, so when I got laid off and moved in with the girlfriend, I had literally lost everything. Before I moved out, I had a collection of, I think I mentioned it to a couple people on here. I had 13 motorcycles at one time. These were all classic. A lot of them were XS 650 Yamahas. They had a cult following at that time. And I learned about them and knew them so I could fix broken ones and sell them for a profit. Well, like I said, I had a collection of old motorcycles and some other stuff, and that's what paid my rent until the end, was getting rid of that whole collection. So when I say I lost everything, I lost everything. I didn't lose it, but I ended up not having it anymore. When I moved in with the girlfriend, I did not have a job. I was doing side jobs, and I'm just trying to recollect. Biggity. Right, because I had gotten laid off from that, and then I was doing some tile work. I was working with a buddy of mine doing building renovations and stuff like that, and basically cash jobs. And that's another thing, not to incriminate myself. I've been off the radar, Uncle Sam's radar, since I got laid off, and that's another thing. If you can stay under that radar, that's a good thing too. Legally, mind you, by making under a certain amount of money, and then they changed those rules. Anyhow, so when I moved in with the now ex-girlfriend, I was down to, this is a great story. If y'all are patient with me, how many we got? It doesn't matter. I was down to $5 cash money in my pocket. I take that back. I had $7 in my pocket. And she lived directly behind one of the largest thrift stores here in town. And I had always been a picker, as far as, if you know what a picker is, not a picker, guitar picker, but an antiques, a resale type picker. But I had never really gotten into eBay necessarily. So I went up to this thrift store, long story short again, and I saw on the shelf an antique camera, and separate from that, an antique camera lens. And when I say antique, I mean early camera lens. Leica, Leitz, whatever. German glass. And I knew enough to know that these two items were worth some money. But in my naivety, I assumed that the camera was worth more, even though it was the more expensive item. So luckily I thought about it, and I hid the lens behind some stuff. And I was literally within walking distance of this thrift store. I'm going to get back to that too, Renegade. Uh, I got home, got back to the house, sat down at the computer, and looked up this camera and discovered that yes, it was worth money. I used to remember the figures off the top of my head. It was worth well over $100. Then I looked up the lens and found out that it was worth well over $300. And I literally dropped what I was doing, scrounged up whatever change I could find from my truck. I literally got into my truck, into the ashtray, under the seats. I went everywhere I could and scrounged every bit of change that I could and physically ran back up to that thrift store. And thank goodness, thank the universe, whatever you believe in, that lens was still there. And I made, if I remember correctly, I think I made close to $700 off of those two items. And I think I had a couple more items that I once I got the eBay set up, I listed at the same time. But I went from, like I said, $5, $7 to $600, $700. And that's another entertaining story. Learned very quickly when setting up eBay and PayPal for the first time that they do everything they possibly can to keep your money from you while you're setting that up. So I'm like struggling to get to this money that theoretically is mine. Ooh, that was a nice rage fest. Lots of customer service people getting yelled at. But anyway, eventually I got the eBay thing set up. I need to find a better camera for me to use. Um, Oh, these were antiques that I was selling. Unless you're talking about this. This is my. Oh, I turned it up. I turned the camera setting up to 4K on my Galaxy S10. So this is an old camera too. I didn't realize that. Is the resolution good? Is that what you're saying? Anyway, back to eBay. I did eBay for years at that point. Once I realized that I could make money off of this, I was literally going up to the thrift store and other thrift stores that was within walking distance of my house. And this was when American Pickers was big and all that. And I was walking around these people that were walking around with shopping carts full of bullshit. And I can still do this to this day, that are pseudo pickers trying to make their $1,000,000, just like the YouTubers. And I'll walk right past them and I'll just scan and I'll grab something off the shelf and I'll go home and I'll sell it. And I can still do that. But they changed the tax thing, so now anything over whatever it is, $600 gets reported. And it wasn't like that before. Hi, neighbor. I don't know if you can see me through the window. Yeah, man, it looks nice. And then you were talking about a camera. Technically, it's your money, but functionally, it's our money. Well, there's that corporate thing about as long as it's sitting in their account, it's collecting interest. So as long as they can get, especially with these big companies that have large amounts of money, that big number gets shit tons of interest. So they want to keep it in there as long as they possibly can. A lot of people in the thrift store are hoarders, buying stuff they don't need. Yes, absolutely. And that's what I'm talking about. I was, do I still have internet, guys? I'm getting all kinds of alerts like I'm losing internet. Oh, well, the router's right here. Yes. Device offline. Huh. Anyway, neither here nor there. The hoarders and the pseudo pickers and the people, they're pros that sit up at thrift stores. You'll see them standing right by the door so that they can chase the person with the cart and be the first person to look. And they still look right over stuff that's worth money. There's people with apps that scan all the books. Bloop, bloop, bloop. There are ways to make millions of dollars at thrift stores if you want to do it. But just like everything else, and what's up, man? You back? Just like everything else in the YouTube, like we're talking about, you have to put the work in. You always have to put the work in. So back to the empire building tip 1 is buying the baddest ass iPhone, top of the line iPhone, when you just get into thrift store, picking and selling on eBay, and downloading and getting memberships to all the Worth Point and all the places that have, in other words, putting out thousands of dollars when you're starting something like this is a terrible idea. Start with what you've got. Back for a few minutes. Thank you, real one. For real. Amen. Again, as a society, we're guided to spend because we live in a capitalist society.
And that's where all the corporate bullshit comes from and all that. I mean, I'm an old hippie. Dude, we can rant about this for days. I try not to. Um, Renegade, yes, corporate bullshit. Here's a great story. Since I'm just sitting here running my mouth and y'all seem to be entertained by it, this gets me view hours. I needed a mod. I appreciate it. And actually, I don't think I turned it on members only. So, all these trolls coming in to attack this boring old jackass sitting in a chair, rambling. I got a backup mod in the room if needed, if need be. Renegade is on standby. He's on deck. He will be number 3. Um, I've lost track of what I was talking about at this point. Oh, the corporate bullshit thing. So I did pizza for years. You want to know the whole story? This will be another good one for the archives. I managed a pizza restaurant when I was 18 years old. I've done pizza. Kentucky Fried Chicken was my first job, and when I got my driver's license, I immediately went to a small pizza restaurant and became a pizza delivery driver, which is another lucrative thing. All these hustlers, I don't know about now because I haven't looked into it, but back in the day, you could make some kick-ass money delivering pizza. Again, that's another tangent I could get into. So, long story short, years and years off and on, I did pizza. Not really off and on, just different companies. I even worked for Sabaros in the mall. As soon as mom is gone, I'm going to pitch my SEO service and my Indian underwear dancer rentals. I wish we could put up GIFs on here or whatever they are. You could put it up. Um, this is inside stuff from our what's it called again? Discord. It's John Scott. If you know John Scott from vidIQ, he's a shorts guy. He left vidIQ and he has a Discord channel. It's actually relatively small. I'll advertise it, but I don't know the link. But we have a good time and we actually help each other out. It's a bunch of YouTube buddies hanging out, basically. But again, long story short, I did pizza for years and I ended up at Pizza Hut. And I was in Pizza Hut. I'm in Jacksonville. I was close to downtown Jacksonville. And I lived directly across the street from this Pizza Hut. So, got to go get my Chi-Town Italian beef. That's what she said. Uh, so I would work a split shift at this Pizza Hut, and I would get up, open the store. When lunch rush was over, I would go home, take a nap, and then go back for dinner without getting into anything else. So I was hustling at this Pizza Hut. I was at that time taking. I may have been clean shaven then because working in the restaurant. If I had the goatee, it was very tightly trimmed. It wasn't long like this. I did have long hair, but I wore my Pizza Hut uniform just like the guy on the frickin' pamphlet, dude. I had my shirt tucked in. I had my fanny pack with my money belt and all that stuff on. I had all my pins. I mean, I had, I don't know, 10-year professional driver pins and stuff like that. I'm here, however briefly. What's up, Road? Renegade Pizza Hut on Dunn Avenue. No, Pizza Hut in the San Marco. Um, right down in San Marco. So I got all the San Marco stuff and all the downtown stuff. Plus, I was the only guy with a pickup truck. So when, again, I'm trying not to lose you on a tangent, but when the United States Post Office, when their training was happening downtown, they had training sessions. I would bring them 50 pizzas at a time in the back of my truck, and they'd tip me $50 a run because they're just pulling it out of a huge corporate account. And that was not the only company that did that. I was banking back then. Plus, I was slinging weed and LSD. uh, Whoopsie, censor that. But I was making a shit ton of money back then. And shortly thereafter, lost all that. But anyway. Um, so back to the corporate bullshit part. Again, I was the model straight off of the pamphlet on the Pizza Hut. Come work for us. And we had a district manager come in one day who I knew and had dealt with before. We were friendly, and she came in, and there was a corporate decision made that denim was no longer allowed. And I wore black denim jeans. They were dark black, and they were exactly what the uniform calls for, black pants. Well, they were changing it to black slacks, and they couldn't, no denim allowed. And I looked at this district manager and I said, "So what you're telling me," and I pointed to my brother Philip, not my brother, but my friend Philip that worked there, and he was the cook. And he had slacks on with holes, sauce stains, bleach stains, sloppy stains all over his. I mean, he was a mess. And it wasn't anything against him, and he knew that because we were good friends. I pointed to him and I said, "So this is okay to represent Pizza Hut, but this," and like I said, my sharp, everything looked great, good. Um, because I'm wearing denim is unacceptable. She says, "Yep." I said, "Are you going to give me, or are they going to give me a allowance to change to buy uniform pants?" She says, "Nope." I said, "Okay, y'all are nuts. I quit." And I left. And I quit. I went home and sat down and laughed for a while and, looked at counted my money and went, "Okay, I'm good for a little while here and we'll figure it out from here." About 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, I get a knock on the door and it's my buddy Phil. And he walks in and I said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "I thought about it for a minute and talked with Sue for a minute and told her I quit too. And here I am." So we rolled one up and figured it out from there. But corporate bullshit, that was a decision that was made by somebody in an office in New York City. I don't know if that's literally where Pizza Hut, it was owned by PepsiCo at that point, but, you know, and they were absolute about it, and so they lost two crucial employees and struggled at that store for a long time because of that. How's that for a frickin' ramble? Y'all seen the barn door I bought? Is it even in frame anymore? Yeah. There's a big fat black cat. Big fat black kitty. So how was that story for y'all? Where are we at here? Damn. I've done gone an hour. We only did a half hour last time. Are y'all bored yet? Oh, good stretch, kitty. So this has got to come down, and I don't have the bits to take these screws out. That was why I didn't take that down. And then I got asked questions. Pizza Hut never recovered. You know, as somebody who actually, again, made pizza for years, I don't really like Pizza Hut. I never really liked Pizza Hut even when I worked there. And that was a long time ago now. They were one of the first to go with frozen dough and all that. I was trained in the old ways. We came in early in the morning and made dough and made sauce, and everything was made fresh in the first pizza restaurant that I worked in. When that pizza restaurant got bought by a company coming in trying to bring Papa John's to town before Papa John's was here. And that's a whole nother story. That's a story for a different time. But when they came in, they introduced me to the commissary idea, which is where they have bulk ingredients specifically for that store that are shipped in. We were still making fresh. You're live! Wow, theoretically I still have people in here. If you're in here still and you can hear me, say hi. Because I had to disconnect the microphone because it wouldn't charge through. It's supposed to charge through and it wasn't. It was just making vibrating noises and not doing anything.
Hi, Rhythm of Fate. I don't know if you've been in here the whole time or if you just joined, but I just got back after some technical difficulties. So you can hear me. Y'all hit that like button if you haven't, because it looks like what just happened there? Did we lose it again? Should be working. It says it's working. It says I'm live. I'm just not getting a good connection on here. I've been a while. Right on. Well, I hope I didn't freak you out there, Fate. A lot of the people in the chat room kind of know me, at least a little bit. And I'm pretty blunt and I don't know. Again, technical difficulties. We're catching up here. It says I'm live, but it's not on my end, on my monitoring end, I should say. It ain't acting right. Difficult technicalities. All right, well, we definitely are back in the chat room. And I'm pretty confident I'm back in real life, but I'm going to do a quick refresh on my monitor and find this. All right, live. It says live. It says live. But I'm definitely not on the screen. That's very concerning. No, I'm not live. Okay. I need you to be live. It defeats the purpose if you're not live. It's not a monitor if you're not live. It's just a screen sitting there showing me something different. 3, 2, 1. Okay, that's, I guess, an acceptable delay. So if I get the new camera like John got, speaking of spending money that we shouldn't be spending, for those who were here for that conversation. Oh, you're live. Oh, believe me, you're live. Anyway, so if I get the new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold, I could be monitoring live and see myself, which I cannot do with this phone. However, I don't even know if we're in reality at all scale. I think it's all a whatever it is. Beep boop. Okay, I'm gonna put this down before I accidentally get stoned out of my mind on extracts. Anyway, so speaking of spending lots of money, I could buy a new phone. What I figured out is the Galaxy Z Fold, whatever it is pretty badass. It's also over $1,000. The mic's a little poppy. The simulation is rebooting. Okay, I don't know how to fix, because there is no mic. It's the phone mic. It's probably poppy because it's got the charger plugged in, maybe. I'll check on that in a little while, and if we've got enough juice, I'll try and hook the lapel mic, whatever it's called, back up. This thing that's not on right now. Biggity, biggity, biggity. So that new phone, like I said, it would show me what's actually being filmed, and that could be definitely useful. I usually just set it up in frame. A lot of people seem to have a problem with that. I can usually do that pretty well and run with it. I try to be mindful of my headroom and how much room I have in frame. But having a monitor on screen would be handy too. To buy a decent camera is $800 and up. And so if I'm going to make that investment, I could physically pay for that probably in cash. I think I have enough of a reserve, to be frank, but it would wipe out the reserve. And if I switch from, I'm on Metro with my phone right now, and if I switch from Metro to T-Mobile, who owns Metro, theoretically I wouldn't lose any service change. I wouldn't have any service change as far as reception and all that, because I'm kind of concerned about that where I am. And they would basically put that phone into my plan. So my plan price, my monthly bill would go up, but I already ditched the $30 that I was paying for Netflix that I hardly ever used. So that would compensate. So basically, if I took that Netflix money that I was already spending and added it onto my cell phone bill, then I can end up with a brand new badass phone. So I'm sort of contemplating doing that. In the process, and in some of the conversations that we were having on the Discord, I started playing with the phone that I use, which is a Galaxy S10e. And that phone actually does film in 4K. So I did switch over to that. So if y'all have noticed that it's sharper, it looks sharper to me in the monitor for sure. So that's what I've done there. I haven't filmed a long form video and tried to edit it yet or upload it to YouTube, so I don't know how long that would take. But I'm playing with some stuff. I'm not giving up yet, Renegade. I don't think you should give up either. I mean, unless you just can't, if you're not enjoying it, that's what people have been saying to me, is if you're not enjoying it, and it's a good point, then why are you doing it unless you're making money? And my reason for doing YouTube was I built this entire building around the concept that I should be able to make enough money out of this building to pay my bills. And one of my thoughts with that was flipping cars, if you know what that means. So if I can buy a car on Marketplace for $500, spend a couple days or weeks on it, and sell it for $1,500 or more, then that's a pretty profitable venture. However, in the state of Florida, I always forget the number. I think it's 3. You can only title 3. If you start playing with titles for more than 3 vehicles, they start asking you about dealer licenses and stuff like that, which is a whole nother thing. And it's more overhead. And that's the point. Again, the point of this building is I built this and now it's mine and I have no overhead other than fucking property taxes, pardon my French, which is exceedingly high. But other than, insurance and all that stuff. But as far as payment, I said in the last one, I'm not hiding it. I basically inherited some money, and this was the choice of how I invested that money was to build this. I built it with my own 2 hands, not 100%, but I framed the residence. I framed with my own 2 hands. Curbstoning, fucking dealers, monopoly. What were we talking? What did I miss there, Scale? I'm all over the place, and I'm a little high, so I think I missed something there. I think I've lost even what we were talking about. Oh, my point being is that I should be able to. My overhead is kept minimum. When I started thinking about doing it, it's like, well, I could rent a place and do a dealership and get a dealer's license, and all of a sudden I'm at $5,000 a month overhead, and I don't have any income still. So that was a terrible idea. So the point of this is that I should be able to make enough money here that I should be able to pay my bills. Once I realized that the dealership thing was out the window, I can still sell some stuff on Marketplace and all that, but I'm going to have to deal with people, which I'd rather not. I don't really like people. Love y'all. So the next thought that popped into my head was, since YouTube has existed, people have said I should have a YouTube channel. And my argument was always, well, if I'm going to go into the shop and work on something as a procrastinator, Scale, you know about this, if I'm going to get out there and work on it, I need to focus and work on it, not start playing with cameras and all that, which is a big negative aspect. However, You were talking about the dealer's license. Um, some states are better about that. Oh, the YouTube thing. So basically, I don't have any. That's the beauty of YouTube is there's no overhead as far as they don't charge you to do this. So when people bitch and moan that wow they're not putting out my video, they're not giving me $1 million for free. They are giving you a shit ton for free because they're allowing you to host your videos on their servers and they're providing you with a place to put your content out there and show it to people. The key is that you have to have quality content because we're competing against millions of people. As a small channel, our odds are totally stacked against us if you're a creator. So I'm still a fledgling channel. I'm still learning how to do all this stuff. And some of the things that we've talked about, cameras and lighting and stuff like that, are super important. And sound are super important. But you don't need to have the top of the line items as I'm demonstrating right now. This phone is, I don't know when the S10 was from. It's probably at least 6 or 7 years old, I would say. Uh, and I think you can go, I want to say the S8, and I could be completely wrong if anybody knows. I do not have a lift in the shop. It was in the budget, but when COVID hit and prices started getting got higher, I really had to start paying very close attention. And I've also realized that I don't really need a lift, or at least not yet. What I need is air conditioning, and that's actually a comparable cost. So that's my next goal is air conditioning the shop. Um, so whatever, I got distracted. I got distracted by that other question. Oh, the phones. I think you can go back to a Galaxy S8, or again, iPhones have badass cameras. If you do the research, it's not hard to find. You can go back a few years and get this is literally my dad's old phone. And it's not on any service or anything. I think it was from Consumer Cellular and he got sick of them, so he switched back to a real provider. And this phone was just basically bricked by them, but it's still viable on a network. So again, I can use this, however old it is, camera and film in 4K. So I really don't need to upgrade yet. It's the toys and it's the sparks, the sparkly, the shiny. But point being of our empire building discussion, if you can keep your budget minimum and not make those investments, you can still create quality content. It just takes legwork. Again, these lights that I paid $30 for are pretty cool. Our buddy John Scott, he's got a video out there where he took a cardboard box and a light bulb basically and hung it in there and put some parchment paper over it and made a soft box or whatever it's called. There's always a way. I can assure you there's always a way. It's a matter of what your priorities are. AC is a must. Yeah, I mean, again, it's a 1,600 square foot shop with 20-foot ceilings, so I need 7 tons of air conditioning. Having been in the trade, I could find used equipment, and I don't have a set of gauges or a vacuum pump, but that's easy. I have the torches and everything. I could literally install it myself. However, to run 7 tons of air conditioning also costs a lot of money. So that goes back to the budget thing. I'm pretty much at my budget line with everything that I do. I've got a little bit of a cushion, but the reality is I have to be very mindful of stuff like that. So if I can make it through this summer, which we're already a good portion of the way through, then I'll be good until next season. Hopefully by next season I will be able to air condition. If not, then I probably won't be on YouTube because I'm not making any money if I haven't done it by then. And Renegade, I feel you on I forget how long you said, years I think you said. That's one of the reasons that I have sent out communications with you is I'd like to sit down with you and have a coffee and talk about stuff like that, because I know that you've got a whole bunch of Amazon affiliates going on. I know you've got some companies that you work with and stuff like that. So I would like to pick your brain on that, and that's not something that we're going to do in the chat. Swamp cooler, oh wait, Florida. Yeah, swamp cooler is worthless here. I am. It's already a swamp cooler. All you gotta do is turn a fan on. No, it does. It's actually, it makes it worse if it's not done correctly. I have seen people use swamp coolers in the shops where they have the big ones. I think they actually chill that water, and that's the key. If you can chill the water, which is basically an air conditioner, then that makes a difference. Believe me, scale. I think you and I have talked enough. My mind, I think about all that stuff. I contemplated. I have a tractor. If you know my channel, it's about to get traded, but I could literally dig a hole and bury coils of copper tubes and use a 12-volt pump that's solar powered and circulate water. And I've thought about all that stuff. By the time I do all that, then I've got the time, effort, and money that it would have taken to just install a freaking air conditioner. It'd be cheaper to run, but anyway, complete with alligators. I've got a swamp right behind me. I don't think there's any gators back there, but let's 85 minutes. Man, I'm gonna let it go. I got 9 people watching. I ain't got nothing better to do. Y'all obviously don't either. Let me check this charging system and see if I can hook the microphone back up. I'm sure you can hear me great right now. It won't even let me see the battery. 11%. Yeah, that's probably not good. Yeah, if y'all can deal with the sound the way it is, I think we're going to do that, because I don't want to screw it all up again. Wake up. I can't see the emoji, but I'll look. Is that swamp? I don't know what that is. What is that emoji? Wake up. I'm editing and downloading B-roll from Ford. Multitask. You're good. Okay. I will be honest, as far as any mic noises you're hearing, and you may hear them in the videos sometimes, I have some dental work in my mouth, and sometimes it clanks together. So that may be some of the sounds you're hearing. This is a bong hit. So that was that sound, but you probably didn't hear it because I wasn't using this. Mauno, I don't remember the model number, 620 or something. This was the second cheapest mic I could find. Hi, Dennis. Hello, my friend. The first ones I bought were not that good because you couldn't turn the noise reduction off. These you can turn it off, and it's got 3 different levels of noise reduction. The other ones always had that robot voice, and that really annoyed the heck out of me. Crystal ball. Crystal ball. So I've had a flea issue recently because my next door neighbors have mangy ass dogs, and somehow they snuck in. These are indoor cats, but they snuck in through the sliding glass door, I guess. So we're in the process of trying to deal with that and not get an infestation. I had a flea infestation. I was living in the camper that's on my channel. I was living in there for years while I built this. And I got a flea infestation in a camper. I don't ever recommend having that experience. It was easy to take care of. I just bombed it. But anyway, all right, buddy. So I don't know what I was rambling about last. Anybody got any more questions? Anybody got any curiosities about Schmoke or Schmoke Shop? I mean, I'll get relatively personal. I'm not getting there's certain things that are not out of line, but whatever I'm trying to say, need to remain private. You cannot have my social security number or my bank routing number. You could have my cat, because then I wouldn't have to deal with it. That one too. Crystal. Did I lose everybody? Or are y'all just watching in the background, giving me watch hours? Hey, Fit, what are you doing? You want to be back and want to do cat cam some more? Let's do cat cam. Cat cam. Cat cam, cat cam. Ding, ding, ding. Oh, Guinness followed me. All right, cat cam. Oh, what? Meow. Okay, we're live with kitties. So these are my besties. That's a cat butt, probably. Oh, there's some belly, but I don't think you can see it. It's too bad because it's the cutest belly. Oh, you can sort of see it. She'll give me hugs and stuff. Guinness is hogging the camera. He wants to be famous. Stop drooling all over me, drool monster. All right, gang. Well, nobody spoke up and asked any questions. So, since we are at exactly 1.5 hours, it looks like, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. So, like I say at the end of all my videos, thanks each and every one of you that watched. I genuinely appreciate it. And I'm enjoying building this little community with y'all. If you ever have any suggestions, I think on the post, the community page on my page or whatever, I think you can post. I'm pretty sure that's available to everybody now. Hi, buddy. I know. We're almost done. So if y'all have any suggestions or anything that you've seen in the shop as far as projects that you want me to play with, let me know, because I basically go out there and kind of look at what needs to be done or what I feel like doing or what I can get some decent footage and get a video made of relatively easily. These coaches and gurus want me to sit here and film for 2 months and put together this huge project, and it's like, well, how am I going to come up with weekly content and do that at the same time? There's only one of me, again, not to get back into that, but anyway, point being, thanks to everyone who's watching. I appreciate you. Nobody's popped up in the chat again, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. Thanks for watching. Going to take me a minute to turn the cameras off, but I'm sure the cats will entertain you. Let us entertain you. Come here, kitties. Do the kitty show for everybody. Bit doesn't want to be on camera. She's hanging out, hiding underneath the cardboard. We can go into drone mode and we'll disconnect the charger. Beep, pew, undocking. Pew. Battery power 14%. Charge your phone. Are you on the Patreon? I am not on the Patreon yet, but that's something that we're going to work on because that is a source of income for us. So that kite is going to be gone over somewhere probably over here. I don't know if y'all have ever seen that. It's kind of like my little harem picture. That wall hanging is a friend of mine gave it to me. He's no longer with us. And I was going to get rid of it, but since he's no longer with us, I put it in. But the other thing that I was going to show you was, for those of y'all that are coming late, I used to work in a kite shop, and that is my favorite kite. And that tail is, I want to say 10 or 12 feet long. And that's it. So thanks for watching. Bye-bye.